said I don't. Technically, you haven't made any comics, but I think you're an artist in your own sense.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me have you introduce yourself.
I'm Matthew, RPG online moniker, uh, best friend of Eli
I
for
see.
it's been almost half my life or more.
Right. It was middle school, right? Was it middle school freshman year?
It was middle school. No, it was middle school, seventh grade. It was I forget the teacher's name, but it was history class at the end of the day.
I do
A
remember
woman.
that. We
Yeah,
started as rivals. I was like, forget that dude in the back. Uh,
yeah, that's funny. Funny times. No, but yeah, just I believe he's bringing me on here. I'm being brought on here to discuss an athletic career that I had in the past
yeah,
and other endeavors that I'm pursuing. So I'm
yeah,
looking forward to chatting. It's always a good conversation.
that's perfect. Yeah, no, definitely. I wanted you on here. I mean, my overall goal is to talk about being in the zone. I feel like with your athletic prowess and my artistic prowess, I feel like two things we invested a lot of our skill points into. That I'm very curious about like the differences and the similarities between those experiences. Like, and then also probably talk about storytelling, anime, and some life stuff.
For
But
sure. Yeah, sounds like a
yeah,
fun combo. Let's do it.
yeah. Now, how familiar are you with like the zone, that kind of concept or idea?
Very, very familiar. It was just something you struggle to do. So I struggle to achieve. I was a big sports guy back in my younger days. So something you just struggle to achieve in competition mainly. Like when you, I mean, it's so funny because when you're just like training and like practicing, like you switch in and out of the zone, like it's nothing. Like you just it's like this is my thing. I'm training. Like it's easy. But
Mm.
when you have to use it, or it's like, and I think we talked about this too. Like you can't force yourself to be artistic. You have
Uh-huh.
to let it come. But
Yes.
I'm sure you also have the experience where like you could just sit and draw, like you know how to just sit and
Mm.
draw and just do
Yeah.
things and just turn it on. But it's like, okay, now I need to do this in a way that's going to like benefit me, or I guess when there's pressure, maybe it's harder
Yeah.
to achieve. I guess that's the differential factor.
Yeah.
But I'm familiar with it. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah. Like my experience with it, and I always feel like it has to be from something that I feel like you put a lot of time and investment into, because I do assume this phenomena happens with all types of like fields and all types of experiences. But yeah, my experience with it is when I am when I was working back at Six Flags, I was able to get into the zone artistically, which is I define it as a state where I'm almost like unfazed by reality. Like no matter what's happening or what's going on, I not only am performing at like this peak level, but I'm also like improving within that space. Almost like anything that comes at me, I almost feel like I naturally just kind of counter it or solve it without
yeah,
even like engaging the frontal lobe almost. Like,
yes, yeah. Let me can I elaborate on that a little bit? It's so interesting that we're just even talking about this because you and I are working on CRC. It is Contagious Respect Challenge,
mm,
an online kind of thing. But I did research on this, and you're calling it the zone. I think the scientific name is flow state.
oh yeah.
And there are things like you described that are innate to that mindset. Forgetting, you said outside stimuli being less effective. That is exactly one of them. Time being
Oh
distorted, and
yes.
even like you losing track of time.
Time dilation, yeah.
uh, Intense focus
Mm,
and improvise. All those things are like if you because I use ChatGPT. I got the literal definition, and
hmm
everything you said is funny. It's that's exactly what it is. Um, and yeah, it's just such an interesting thing
mm,
to achieve or to be a part of.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and especially one that like everyone seems kind of capable of. That's really interesting. And I mean, I really give a lot of credit to you being in the flow state, because I assume when you're like wrestling or competing or performing physically, like it's more of using your body to do the thing. To me, it's like a familiarity with the tools you're using. Mine is my hands and a pen, but yours is like your whole upper and lower body, like your arms and
yeah, but
legs. And, yeah.
that literally just adds another level or challenge or mindset because you're thinking like at this point I'm thinking like I don't want to die, but I'm also thinking like I don't want to injure myself. Like I don't want to. It's just it. When I was younger, I wasn't so much. It's just kind of like I'm gonna do it. and I want to do this thing. I want to win. And then
Mhm.
as I got older, it's like, okay, I want to win in a way that it's not going to like destroy myself. So it's just more mindful. It's more layers being piled on.
Mhm.
But you say it's like a tool.
Yeah.
It's funny, like when I am in flow state or when I'm like achieving it. I don't. I guess it's hard to tell, like differentiate
Uh-huh.
what's
Right.
when, what when you're in and out.
Uh-huh.
But in workouts,
Mhm.
I do think of it very objectively. You're like, oh, you know, I'm just using a tool. You have
Mhm.
to like, that's literally what I'm thinking. It's like, how much
Mhm.
can I do before I just because in my head, it's practical. You got to be practical. Like,
Yeah.
what is the repercussion of doing this thing for too long?
Mhm.
You'll be inoperable for a little bit. You're not going to
Mhm.
die. You might. I mean, at this age, maybe I don't know. But usually, you're not going to die. You
Mhm.
will just pass out.
Mhm.
And I
Right.
remember that was just the mindset of my training. Like, how much do I have left before I physically will just like fall over?
Mhm.
And usually, it's like usually you could you could like stop, evaluate the situation, be like, okay,
Mhm.
I have quite a bit left. Like no matter how
Mhm.
tired you are, it's like I am quite a ways away from like physically falling over.
Mhm.
I need to just focus on like my technique or my attack or like my
Mhm.
setup or whatever options it, and it becomes more of like a chess match. So
Yeah.
at some point in the training, you don't like the tired, and it took me a while to realize that. And it's kind of like you talked about improving, right?
Yeah.
In high school or in before when I was training in my early part of training,
Mm.
I would be so in my own head. I'd be like, I have to do this, to do this, to do
Yeah.
this, to do this. And it would it actually just slow me down and be a
Yeah.
hindrance. I'd be like, all right, I got to set this up. And I'd be so focused on setting this up that it didn't happen
Uh-huh.
or that I wouldn't, I would tune out every other thing or I'd focus on this thing
Mhm.
and I wouldn't be paying attention to this thing
Mhm.
as opposed to just being like, I'm just going to, you know, again, you go back to practicality, and this is just breaking it down on another level. You go back to okay, am I defending myself? Or do I have my head as my first level of defense, my hands as my second level of defense,
Mhm.
my leg, just the basic stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
that's all set. Now, while I'm still maintaining that position, can I pursue this type of attack or this type of like advantage over the other person? Okay, I
Mhm.
have this advantage now. Like now I have an opening for an attack, or now he's adjusting. I need to readjust. It's a constant like chess match,
Right.
and it's almost it's so fast and it's so fluid that it doesn't. It's almost like your body is. I think of it like a machine, and it just
Yeah.
it's for me. It's so much fun. Like you could do like I've done substances, I've done drugs, but like when your body is executing something that you've trained for hours and hours and hours, there's no more euphoric feeling than that. Like
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
on pure instinct
Right.
at like 120%. You know what I mean? Against
Yeah.
another human being.
Yeah. No, and I think that was the interesting element of it is because your flow state, you're doing it. You're in the physical world. Of course, mine is too. But like, I always feel like it's the closest I ever feel to like what I imagine Eminem feels like when he's rapping, when he's in a, a rap battle, where it's just like
Yeah.
this level of confidence due to all the training you've done, and then it's just kind of all coming out of you. At the end of mine, I have a cool art piece that I'm like, wow, that's fire. Yours is I have defeated another human being in like combat, or or I guess maybe like when you're more training, maybe that's like you just pushed yourself to a certain level, or you gain this new skill, and you're kind of like building on that physically. But I assume there's a
Yeah, you know,
difference
you
there.
don't it's really more about the crazy thing is once you like at this point in my life, it's not like the winning and the losing, it's fun. And it's still important.
Mm,
But I just the point of like continuing to do that thing and like
mm, mm.
exercise that like mental muscle
Yeah,
is like probably the most rewarding part of it, right?
yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, there's yeah, you're right. There is nothing like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm wondering like, uh, are there things that you felt like you had to do to get into the flow state? I know that I was able to get to it easier when I was working Six Flags artistically every day. Now I can kind of fall into it, but there's a little bit like I have to go to a certain place in my head to like bring it out of me. Do you find the same for your experience?
Um, you know, yes and no.
Mm,
Um, I think sometimes when you're really stressed, it is hard to like find that level of like clarity or like let things go to where your body could just take over.
mhm,
But at this point, I think in like my experience, I do know how kind of how to do it.
mhm,
For me, since it is you keep mentioning like such a physical thing,
Mm,
it's just like a switch. Like, and I told my family this, and they just laughed at me. They think I'm crazy. But it's like if
mm,
you force yourself into like a, I don't want to say life or death, but like a
uh-huh,
very high intensive situation where the only thing you can do is like that thing, then
uh-huh,
it clicks on. Like you have no
uh-huh,
choice but to do that thing,
mhm,
or you're going to fail or hurt yourself or like be injured. And
mhm,
usually your body like remembers and turns on the thing. I'm going
mm.
to show you an example really quick.
Sure.
But this is actually almost like a detriment sometimes, because it result. I don't know. But let me just show you what I mean when I
Yeah,
say
please.
this, because I think it'll be easier just to clarify.
Mhm.
Um,
And also, if you do have a clip, feel free to send it to me in a file too, and I'll put it in the video.
oh, well, I guess I'll just explain it to you then, so I don't have to show you on camera. But I'm looking
Sure.
at my workout. This is from
Yeah.
October
Feel
23rd,
free
so
to
about a
show
week
it.
ago.
Mhm.
Pardon me?
I said you can still show me so that I can see what you're talking about.
Oh, sure. I mean, you can't. You're not going to see what it is. It's numbers.
Oh,
I'll
I
just
see.
tell you. But I ended
Yeah.
up running. I went for a jog. I ran 3 miles.
Mm,
Not a big deal. Not super difficult. I'm a large person though, so I did about 10-minute miles, 3 10-minute miles.
mm,
My average heart rate was about 166 beats. It's pretty decent, not bad.
mm.
But if I go to the breakdown of my heart rate, the longest, the zone 5 is the biggest
Mm.
time I spent working out. That's your
Yeah.
body outputting like the maximum amount of effort,
Wow.
and it's not necessarily super healthy. It's like it's like essentially sprinting the whole time.
That's amazing. Me just
So
getting into working out, I'm looking at that. I'm like, whoa.
yeah, I mean, but it's not like, I mean, I've done research and I don't know if like they say like highly trained athletes could maintain a maximum heart rate a lot more easily and it's not as dangerous. Your maximum heart rate is 220 minus your age. Me being 35 would make it 185 beats per minute. And I think mine was, I hovered at around 190 for quite a bit of the run there at the peak.
Yeah, and I'm not familiar enough with it to have concern. I also think of you as some sort of Greek demigod, so I'm not worried about you physically, which maybe I should. I don't know, but it's more of me just getting on a treadmill for a little bit. I tried to do a two mile run on a treadmill, and there was a point where I was like, okay, let me really go for it, and then I was like, I'm gonna do this as long as I can, and about 30 seconds in, I was like, okay, all right, hey, let's chill back down, Eli. Let's calm down. So you doing it for
Yeah,
that long, I'm like, wow, it's impressive.
yeah, no, it's cool because I can do it for a very long time.
Right.
And it won't, like, I'll just be really, I mean, I'll be tired, but like it's a pretty quick, the better shape you're in, the quicker your recovery speed is too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
um now it's about, I could walk a lap or two, I'll be ready to go another round. But it's just that's how I just kick it on.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Yeah.
go, I'll hop on the treadmill and I'll just push it up to,
Nice.
7.5, 8 miles an hour. I'll just go on the track and I'll just, I could time my pace on my watch.
Mm.
Like, okay, I'm at about a 9:30 mile. Like that's a pretty good pace for me for now, at least.
Yeah.
I just know eventually I'll have to kick into survival mode.
Right. And that's interesting. It brings me to like another idea because when I talk to other creatives about being in the zone or like elevating their art, it comes a lot to trust. It is, hey, build this like reservoir or this, archive of skills and, techniques, and then let yourself do it. Like, don't think about doing it. Just start it and then trust that your body will do the thing that you've trained it to do for so long. And I found that's like a
Yes.
very good way to kind of get into it.
Yeah, it's you're looking at it in a very physical way as well. It's muscle
Yeah,
memory,
yeah,
and you know what? A lot of it is everybody has a mental callus on some
mm,
part of skill, right? You could sit and focus on drawing for probably hours.
yes,
I don't have that. I don't have that mental callus.
mhm,
I don't.
mhm,
Um, I could I could callus the part of my brain that says, you're slightly fatigued, and
mm,
that doesn't bother me, and I could just keep going for a little bit longer than you probably, but I can't.
yeah,
You could callous the part of your brain that says, I need to do something else. I need a different stimuli, and
mhm,
just focus in on this thing that you want to focus in
mhm.
on.
Yeah. No, that's fascinating. I hadn't thought about that mental callus. Yeah, 'cause that's kind of what I'm trying to encourage in these artists that want to do this professionally or like long term. But I think just like you, like there is that risk of injury if you overdo it. I feel like a lot of creatives end up burning out because they are trying to push past that. Like, it's one thing to have your, that mental callous, like, okay, I got to keep working on this thing. But it's that, like, all right, stop now. It's like, if you keep going too far, then you get into this weird injury, which is, in my mind, what like a burnout is on the creative space. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, and I have an interesting perspective on that too. At
yeah.
some point in your life, if you get good enough at anything,
Mm.
people will rely on you to continue to do that thing.
Yes. Right.
And you can't. A lot of people do. They just say, "I can't. I'm burnt out."
Hmm.
And when I hear that, and this just might be me being an athlete or me being whatever, but I
Hmm.
don't. I think that is not. I think at that point you need to determine. I don't want to say it's not this. I don't want to say it is this. I want to say that's the point we need to determine what is more important to you. Your I guess I don't have a different word but complacency
Uh-huh. Hmm.
or your dream.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
And at the end of and when I look back, I think about the tomorrow version of
Mhm.
me, and I think
Yeah.
about I will be proud of myself that I chose to pursue my dream over
Mhm.
being comfortable.
Mhm. Yeah.
I will
And I mean,
never regret that decision.
yeah. And I guess I'm more thinking about like, because I assume you have been injured before. You probably have pushed yourself to a point of like, okay, now I, broke this thing. And I assume even when those situations, you still like are thinking for the future. All right, I will heal this up, and then I will, you like, I guess figure out where those edges are. Like, okay, that
Well,
was.
we talked about burnout. To
Mhm.
me, burnout is there's two things. There's an injury
Mhm.
and there's being hurt.
Mhm.
If you're
Yeah.
injured, you
Mhm.
actually cannot do that thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
You are prevented from doing that thing physiologically. I
Yes.
have been injured and I
Mhm.
could not move my body in a certain way. It would
Mhm.
collapse. If I
Yeah.
tried to use one of my legs in a certain way, I would just collapse onto the ground.
Mhm.
I would
Yeah.
lay in bed and that muscle that was supposed to hold my leg in that position was not there and
No.
my leg would just give and
Correct.
just laying in bed just
Yes.
so eventually it was partial. It healed without surgery, thankfully.
Yeah.
But that's an injury and I'm
Mhm.
relating. And then there's being hurt where there's a
Yeah.
severe pain. It's
Mhm.
debilitating, but it is not going to cause the injury
Mhm. Yeah.
and it's not going
And still work
to.
with that.
You still can work with that. It might hurt more for a little bit,
Mhm.
but it's not going to get worse.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
when you say burnout, I don't see an injury. I see that as
I
pain. I
see.
see that as being hurt, and I
Yeah.
and
I
I
guess
think
it's.
that that's something that you could move past.
Yeah, and I mean, because and this could be just my perspective on it. Like, I do believe, just my experience with other creatives, that I am associating a mental thing with like this physical counterpart, which I don't think is a exact, correlation. But I have known creatives who will push themselves to this extreme to the point where they never do it again. So it's, I mean,
I
that's kind of
I
where I
I
am.
know I've known athletes that are the same way.
Mhm, yeah,
They're
but it's this
but what
fortitude.
is
But
but again is that's a choice that they're making.
mhm, I
That's
see.
not something that is. If someone put a gun to their head and said draw, could they still draw beautifully? Probably. Would it be as
Maybe.
beautifully as they? Would it be as beautifully as if they were inspired? No. Could
Mhm,
they eventually learn
mhm,
through consistency, even with that pressure, to
mhm.
meet and even exceed those skills? Yes.
Yeah, and I guess, and that's kind of what I'm thinking, because in my mind, um, the parallel would be like, you're working out physically, you're exercising, and then there's a point where you can push too far and actually injure something, and then you have to
You
stop
can.
doing that for a small amount of time. And if you have
Yeah.
the internal fortitude to like, I'm not going to let this stop me, I will take the necessary steps to heal it and then continue. I think that's kind of what I'm thinking of. I think an artist could burn out. I have pushed this too far, and now whatever is in me that's having me to create this thing, I no longer have that. It's not working right. But
Mhm.
if you like care for it,
You're. I think we're conflating two things, though. We're conflating motivation and um, action. Maybe
no, that's interesting.
you could always take action if you're not motivated. I mean, and I know as a creative, it's a difficult process, but let's think about it in a think about it in a practical sense here.
Mhm.
You're like, oh, I don't feel like doing this. Like my motivation's gone. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, you're making $1,000 a page.
Mhm.
Shit. Well, you're not motivated. Would you still do the thing? Probably. I mean, maybe not you specifically.
Right.
Um, but I mean, most people, I think most people would.
Yeah. No, I do agree, and I think that's the one of the interesting things
But
I'm trying to get to in like. Okay. Yeah.
let's look at the whole manga industry.
Yeah.
That's full of burnout, and it's still.
Yes.
I mean, we could easily say, hey, this isn't their best work, but
Yeah.
it's good enough to fund $1 billion industry, right?
Right. Yeah. But I mean, even in that, like, there are still many manga creators that, through overworking, are hospitalized because, like, they're drawing a page, okay, but then they're like, because there is the physical thing. It is, hey, my arm, the thing I'm using to draw hurts. But there is a point of like, hey, I have done this too much mentally. It has become an issue, and I now need to be hospitalized. So I do think it is there. There is a line that is like, hey,
So
you
let's
you've
look in
pursued
the.
this.
We're speaking anecdotally here. I don't want to cut you off, but I think we're speaking anecdotally here. And I
Mhm.
think if we look at the statistics, and I think if we look at the reasons behind the hospitalization in the industry, I
That's
think it
true.
would tie. I think it would tie in more so to
Uh,
physical fatigue, as opposed to mental fatigue. I think it's more
Interesting.
so crunch where people have to stay up and they're getting 4 hours, 5 hours of sleep consistently for 3 weeks to make
Yes.
deadlines, as
I
opposed to the
understand.
mental fatigue. So
Oh,
again, like
that's
part
interesting.
part of being successful,
Hmm.
and part of and we're getting way off topic here,
No,
but
that is good.
staying in the zone,
Hmm.
pushing past those things, being able to really hone in on these skills,
Hmm.
because I think we're talking about they're still like together, being in the zone, right?
Yeah.
Managing our skills, mastering our skills. Um, there will be a point of pushing past discomfort, and
Hmm.
also, and I tell employees this, I tell people I train with, you have to do it smart, and you have to know yourself. You can't
Hmm. Yeah.
overcommit. That's still part of being a complete full person. You don't want to
Yeah.
overcommit and overexert yourself. When I was
Right.
training at Iowa State, which is one of the toughest athletic, wrestling programs in the country, my coach
Mhm.
was an Olympic gold medalist, and what we talked about was not overtraining. We trained less in college than I did anywhere else in high school. We
Yeah.
trained less because our bodies were at their peak, and when we trained, we were killing ourselves. So he's like,
Hmm.
well, why we got to do this every day? I mean, like, we'd
Hmm.
have 3 hard practices a week, maybe 2 hard practices a week, and then we'd come in and we stay in the motions, we keep the rest off, and we keep
Hmm.
our conditioning up, but we
Yeah.
weren't killing ourselves. So it's the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
you have to know how to be smart about it.
Absolutely. No, I think you make a great point. Yeah, and I think that's more of what I'm thinking of because I do think it is that knowing yourself. I think a lot of the cause of like creatives falling off and never creating again is because they didn't take the time to understand where their limits are or where their strengths were or how to compensate for those things. I don't know. Does that make?
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I could
it
be.
does
I
make
could be
sense.
making this up.
Go no, and going back through this, I am blessed that I had the experiences that I had, because even though my coach, he wasn't like a super complete human, like, in all areas, right? He was a great wrestler. He was a great technician in the sport of wrestling. He knew how to connect with the type of wrestlers that he wanted to train.
Mhm.
But when it came to like connecting with people outside of that box, or like finding
Mhm.
success outside of that world, I wouldn't say that he was like apt in those with
Mhm.
equipped with those skills
Mhm.
proficiently. Like you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he might not have found the same success. I don't want to say wouldn't, but maybe he would not
Mhm.
have found the same success in life.
Right.
Um, and but still seeing how he approached wrestling, and
Mhm.
seeing how people approach, because at this level they're looking at it as a profession, right? They're looking at,
Yeah.
how do I
Mhm.
maximize what I can get out of my body. I
Mhm.
was able
Yeah.
to, I don't, and then I also see it with people I work with. I work with some very high level, like real estate individuals.
Yeah.
Just seeing how they maximize profit margins, how um, they always know themselves. There's
Yeah.
plans.
Uh-huh.
They're putting their own well being. They're keeping their own well being in their mind to some extent.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
protecting themselves from
Yeah.
certain situations, right? Like
Yeah.
as a supervisor, as a boss, I can't just go out and talk to angry customer after angry customer after. At some point,
Yeah.
I got to be like, hey, you help me with this. I got to
Mm,
focus on this. Okay, let's spread the workload. You know what I mean? Like you just
yeah.
have to be smart
That's
about it.
that's such a powerful message. Learning yourself and knowing your limits and figuring out how to navigate that space. Yeah, it's almost comes with maturity. It's being in that space long enough that you
Hundred
start
percent,
picking
hundred
those things
percent.
up. Yeah. That.
That's the. There's no way you could teach this. It's
Mm,
really just it's honestly failing and then really not wanting to fail to the point where you're
mm,
going to learn and change it like immediately.
mhm.
It's like, oh
Right.
shit, this is going to equate to a failure. I can't
Mm.
repeat this action again. And then
Uh.
like internalizing that to a point where your actions really will change.
Mhm.
And
No.
once you reach that, it's some of it's like realizing, okay, I can't stay up this late, or realizing
Yeah.
I can't eat shitty food at 11 p.m.,
Mm,
realizing I shouldn't drink caffeine after 10 o'clock,
mhm.
realizing you know, it's Saturday or it's Saturday at 10 o'clock. I'm 3 or 4 drinks in. I need to go to
Mhm.
sleep because I'm meeting with my family tomorrow. I mean, they're just the little things. You got to know yourself and like be like, hey, just chill, just chill.
Right. Yeah.
Err on the side of like caution
Mhm.
and competency and preparation
Yeah.
with
No,
everything
that's
you do.
I love that because as I said, y- I do not do pretty much any of those well. Like competency and like determination and forethought are not my where I put my skill points in. I have it has I have got a little bit of skill in that just through necessity, like just
Yeah.
like hey, yeah, I think it comes with I accredit my wife. I was married for long enough that she kept being like, "Hey, Eli, you're messing up on these
You,
things."
no, dude, seeing
Help
you
it.
like from a young man to now, you're very responsible on
Right.
with the things that like with the things that are like on your frontal lobe that you're focused on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
but you're I think sometimes you're just not mindful of certain things, and it's
Yes.
a learning process because, like I said, it's trial and error, and you haven't
Mhm.
had. I just don't think you've had the opportunity to have as much trial and error yet.
Right.
But I would
Yes.
give yourself a little bit more credit
Uh-huh.
because some people fail several times bad. I feel
Mm.
like you've made some mistakes. It's like, oh, I've learned. Like, I
Right.
mean, like financial situation. Like, you're in a pretty good financial situation. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
your credit, you got credit card. Credit's not bad. Got a good job. Like,
Right.
you have a budget. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes. No, absolutely. Yeah, no, and life kind of teaches you certain things if you're paying attention. And I think it's a level of accountability. I definitely had some people in
Yes.
my corner that I you might not know this about me, anyone watching this, but I used to be like I messed up. That's just me being silly. I didn't know any better. And I had a couple people like, "No, you know better. I'm holding you accountable to that." And then after a while I started holding myself accountable, and now I'm accountable. It's unfortunate, um, but
I don't think it's unfortunate. Everybody has their own journey, bro.
sorry,
It's
the
really
child in me is like, dang it, if I could have just rode that out for the rest of my life, I could have been
yeah.
irresponsible. But
Well, it's
yeah,
unfortunate that you have that mindset, but
yes, but I
it's
am curious,
fortunate
like,
that you have learned.
yes, um, but I'm curious, and this is just kind of philosophy I have with the creative side of it. So I'm wondering if you have it for like the physical side of it as well. I believe that as you go through life, if you have a hobby or something you're really investing a lot of your time and energy into, as like maybe it's a big part of your personality or how you see yourself. Mine is like art. But through my storytelling and art, I have learned lessons that equate or track onto my real life experiences, like, knowing yourself to be in the zone to create this art thing. It caused me to know myself enough to like affect me in like personal relationships. Now when I'm like out talking to people, I know this about myself because my art
Yes.
kind of forced me to learn this. Do you feel like
Yes,
there's a
100%.
correlation
Oh
in?
my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh yes, 100%, bro. Yeah, every single thing I do. I mean, from getting up in the morning to literally every single thing I do. I just do it and I don't complain. And I just do it and I just try my best, and that's all wrestling. And I don't like. I honestly don't try to be the best. And my whole thing is like I'm just going to go and I want to do my best. I want to give my best effort. I want to be able to put my best foot forward at any given moment. right?
Yeah.
Maybe not 100% of the time, but whenever I feel that it's necessary to
Yeah.
come 100%,
Hmm.
I'm able to turn it on and just do my best. And if I
Hmm.
fail, another good thing I learned is just like, you know what? You gotta keep trying. Like you're
Uh-huh.
not dead.
Right. That's the best part of being alive is that
Yeah.
you get another shot at it. Right.
You just keep going. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No,
And I
that makes a
think
lot of sense.
about I just think about hard stuff. Like, and I
Hmm.
tell people, I'll just be talking to people about stuff, and like I'm asking them to do stuff or whatever. They
Hmm.
go, "That's hard," or "That's what." And my mindset, and I'm not trying to I don't want to flex. I'm not trying to flex, but I'll just go to where I was training and competing.
Hmm.
When I was after college, I wrestled internationally,
Hmm.
um, and on the Olympic ladder. This isn't like in the wrestling world; it's not a huge accomplishment. To me, I feel like it's big though. From
Yeah.
where I
Big
started
feat.
to where I ended, I was number 7 on the Olympic ladder or the U.S. ladder for a little while, right? At my respective weight class, which was 211.5 pounds or something. It's I
Mm,
think kilos, 96 kilos, 97 kilos.
mm,
Um, and I wrestled at heavyweight in college, which was 285 pounds. So I weighed more than that. I probably weighed
mm,
around 235 pounds.
mm,
So while training to compete at this very high level, I was also like focused on like losing. I didn't have a lot of body fat, so just
mm.
like whatever
Yeah.
weight,
Uh-huh.
I dropped from about like 235 to like 211. And I would
Mhm.
do it in a span of like a week and a half, 2 weeks. Whenever I'd have a competition, I
Wow.
try to hover around like 230, but
Mhm.
it didn't. So I think about hard and I think about difficult things. That was difficult.
Mhm.
That was
Yeah.
difficult. I
Right.
mean, just I remember like you don't have like you didn't eat the night before. It's like the day of the competition. It's like, well, I got 4 more pounds to cut. I better without eating or drinking any water for the last, I don't know, 12 hours, put
Mhm.
on a lot
Right.
of clothes, carry a bike into the sauna, and then ride that bike in the sauna for like
Wow. I
hours
remember the
until
crazy stuff you had to do for when weight started coming around. Yeah. Yeah, that's
yeah.
wild.
And it wasn't yeah, and it's not even like and people are like, oh, that's I want someone to tell me that's not hard. You're right, it's probably not that hard in itself. Try doing it after not eating
Right.
being at a very very high caloric deficit for 2 weeks
Mm,
straight
mm.
while
Yeah.
training at the highest probably level that the human body could like train at
Yeah.
consistently. I mean,
Yeah.
then tell me it's not hard.
Yeah, I don't that's not me. That sounds like the amount of willpower you must be able to exhibit that those mental calluses to get your body to do the thing and not
Yeah,
cave just is
yeah,
amazing to me. I didn't get into wrestling. I saw one of your practices. I was like, nah, that's not. I would need you know I need some run up to that. I'm not going that way. uh
that's funny.
no,
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense to me. um but it reminds me of that element of comparison. You said you're always trying to find like your best. I feel like that's the same in like the creative field. I feel like in the modern times we're looking at a lot of social media, a lot of other people doing what you're doing. I guess my currency is it is currency. It is like, hey, how much money are you making for that illustration? But it also
yeah,
comes into like, how many subscribers do you have? How many likes did that post get? These things. Um, Luckily,
yeah,
I've never been motivated by those things. It's always like, I want to create the thing that I want, and I have
yes,
these hands that will let me do it. So that's kind of the focus. But it seems like
yeah.
you have a
You
similar philosophy in that way. Like you're your person you're kind of trying to defeat and beat and like the focus of it.
Yeah, there was only a very few. There were a few times where I like had like rivals and people to like chase after. I think in high
Hmm.
school, you remember like that guy who beat me a couple times,
Oh
like
yeah.
state champ, and I
Uh-huh.
just yeah, I mean, and he was it was very motivating. It
Hmm.
was, but it's also very taxing, and you
Hmm.
got to realize people are people.
Yeah.
And you got to realize people aren't perfect. And the older I get, the more empathetic I get. So it's just hard for me to have like a straight up rival or an enemy because I like everybody so much, and
Uh-huh.
usually the people who I'm competing against, they're trying their best too, and I
Right.
think that's
You have respect
admirable.
for them.
Yeah,
Right.
I have respect for it, so I
Hmm.
don't have necessary. It's it is just really yourself,
Hmm.
and your best. But it's again, we go back to knowing yourself and your competencies, right? So I
Yeah.
look at stuff, and I'm looking over something like like an email. Let's say I'm sending an email. And I
Hmm.
type it out it's a very detailed email. It's explaining a
Hmm.
scenario. It's
Hmm.
discussing finances. Through several channels. It's a complex message, right?
Yeah.
And you type it up. You type up your first email, and then not Chat GPT, but Grammarly corrects all the spelling and grammatical errors, and maybe recommends that you reword a couple things. You're like, okay, cool, and then you reread it. It's like, okay, I could probably make this sound better by moving some things around, making it flow a little bit better, right? And then you look at it again, and the formatting can change a little bit, and then it's almost a completely different email
Yeah.
after 2-3 minutes of editing,
Uh-huh.
and that's just you knowing your best, and you have to
Right.
kind of almost do that every single time
Right.
because I mean, you don't want to be manic about things.
Yes.
You,
Right.
you
Right.
got to realize that, or if you have the aptitude to trust
Mhm.
yourself,
Yeah.
to where you don't have to be manic, right? You could just,
Yeah.
okay, but I've read this 3 times. It
Mhm.
flows, grammar's right,
Mhm.
everything's addressed that need to be addressed, all the bullet points, perfect send. You
Yeah.
don't have to go, okay, do I need to reword it? I mean, you
Yeah.
just have to. That goes back to knowing yourself,
Yeah.
knowing your limits, knowing, and if you have, and you will know if you have high expectations for yourself, and if you care about something deeply, you should have high expectations for yourself
Right.
in regards to
Absolutely.
that thing, and you probably will.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you talk about emails, and I immediately started panicking. I feel like my dyslexia always makes me like,
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, you and Chop sometimes I'd be like, damn.
right?
And
They sent that, right? Yeah, and I mean, I guess that goes to know myself in a way. There is with my editing in my comic books, I have I have found different settings in myself. I
hey,
have
edit that
found
part
the
about Chop out though. I ain't trying to help you
right.
out here.
We'll cut that part out. But I know that there's a creative side of myself. There is an editorial side of myself, and there is also like a big picture. Like, hey, I'm not creating things, but I'm kind of getting the scaffolding of the thing. But I
Yeah,
know that none of those people can spell well, so it's like
yeah,
I end up
same.
relying a lot on Grammarly or editors. Like I find
Yes,
people, and it's so weird how quickly, like how confident I'll be. I think I got everything. I think I spelled everything right. I double checked, I triple checked, I quadruple checked. I've got to a manic level, and I've gotten so much done. Cool. The editor's gonna just look at it, and they're gonna say, "Good job, Eli. You did it."
and
It
they'll
has
find the
never
10
happened.
stuff.
They're
Yeah.
always like 50% of this is totally wrong. You
Do
messed
you
up on these
have
things.
do you have
Yeah.
an AI spelling assistant?
I have Grammarly. It does
You
catch
have
a
Grammarly?
lot of it. But
Okay.
still they're still like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, but your punctuation. This is technically correct, but based on
Hey,
how you're trying
bro,
to say this is a better
as a
way."
as a as a 35-year-old man at this point in my life, like for the longest time I just didn't give a shit. But at this point in my life, I do care. Like I do
Uh-huh,
try to like read and like, okay, this is what that should be,
uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
So just don't give up. That's my only
Yeah.
advice. Like don't get discouraged. Just keep learning. I'm probably as equally as dyslexic as you, right? And like all my employees know it. Like I'll like try and spell something like close enough to where I can correct it with spell check.
Right.
And
Yes.
sometimes I'll be in a meeting and that won't work. And it's
Oh no.
embarrassing. And I'm like, oh shit.
Uh
It's like
right.
that's
Yeah.
not even close to how you spell it, huh? And they're like, nah, it's yeah. And I'm like, all right. You ain't getting
Right.
no raise. Get out of my face.
Right. Yeah. No. Absolutely. And it is learning where your weaknesses are, and then trying to
Yeah.
compensate for those weaknesses. And
Yes.
luckily, uh, that's why we have revisionists and we have editors, and have things like that. So it
Most
definitely
people
does.
can't spell. Let's be real.
Right. No, it's
Most
hard.
people.
And here's the thing too. I'm creative. So I love getting flowery with my words. I love getting
Yes.
linguistical
Yes.
pontificating. I love doing that.
Yes. Same
And then
here.
they're like,
Especially when I'm speaking.
right, yes.
That's the thing.
So
I think we can both speak really well, and I can read well. I can read good. I have
I
no
can read too,
problem.
yeah. Yeah.
I have no problem reading like anything. I can read big words. I can read small. I can read words I don't know. I can sound them out.
Yeah,
But
my
it's just when it
comprehension's
comes
really good
to
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
the comprehension's good. It's just when it comes to like spelling. It's just
Yeah. Right.
what's happening
And,
here.
yeah, and it's hard when I'm typing words like pontificate, but then I use the wrong there. They're like, all right, Eli, like, I guess,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
It makes the pontificate word look stupider because it's just right next to me misspelling the word,
more stupid. I think
car,
is
or
what you
whatever,
were going
just
for,
whatever
by the
weird
way.
thing. So it's tough, but
Did you
yes,
you hear I said more stupid is the word you were going for, by the way,
yes, yeah, exactly. That's
bro. I
exactly
said I was talking to my the owner. I said expeditiously.
it.
He looked at me like I was crazy.
Right.
Like they
Uh,
want it back expeditiously.
right. know that. Right. Right. We'll play it by year. Like you said, ear or year? Oh, year. No, that's not it. You're supposed to play it by ear, not by year, Eli. All right. I'll sit back down.
Touche, touche.
Right. But yeah, let me get into a couple other things. I did want to get one more element of being in the zone, and that is that time dilation. It's something I struggle with a lot in my relationships, because I found out that when I'm in the zone or being creative or really enjoying it, the time modifier is about 3x. However much time I think I have spent 3 times that amount of time. So like, it would be like, hey, I'm gonna do a thing in an hour. Okay, cool. I will spend an hour drawing and then do that thing. So after I
Yeah.
have felt an hour has passed, I'm in a lot of trouble because it has been 3 hours. And
Well, that's the thing with accountability. I mean, we could talk
yeah,
about time dilation. We could talk about all this stuff.
yeah,
It goes back to knowing yourself, right? Like if you
yes,
know that's a flaw of yours,
yep,
solve that flaw. I
right,
mean, when I get into this, I mean, let's say I don't have that problem necessarily, but
mm,
I am manic with my phone. I'm
mm,
manic with my watch.
mm,
I time. You have access to both of my schedules. First off, I have 2 schedules: a personal
right,
schedule and a work schedule, and they
right,
both are time blocked very effectively. And I have 3 schedules. I'm sorry. I have a
yeah,
family schedule through Apple with Katie that
mm,
we share for all things, and they all update to my Google and my
uh-huh,
so.
wow,
But everything is time blocked. Everything has a notification.
yeah,
Um, I have. If you look at my phone right now, reminders are always there. They
mm,
are geo. What are they? They're tied to location. So whenever I arrive at one location or another, I'll be reminded to do several
oh
things.
wow, that's
I
cool.
have 7 reminders right now, all
Mm,
tied to like work,
yeah,
just to do things, and it's
all
super
dealing with
easy.
technology. Yeah,
Yeah, Siri, set a reminder to blah blah blah, and it just sets, and whatever, it could go into your calendar,
yeah.
and whenever I get to that place or whenever I do that thing, my phone will beep and tell me to do it.
Yes. No, absolutely. And I think that's why I have found the 3x multiplier is because I have tried to study how I'm doing these things incorrectly. So yeah, I have the timer now too. I still slip sometimes, but I'm much better than I used to be. Now I have alarms throughout
Honestly,
the day and
yeah.
notifications on the calendar. Yeah.
And a cool thing, like honestly, I mean, a lot like use your virtual assistant if I give you feedback. When I today, whenever I'm like at work and just overwhelmed, hey Siri,
Mm,
set an alarm for 20 minutes. Not actually
mm,
Siri. 20 minutes. No, turn off alarm. And then I'll literally just go and like park somewhere, turn my
mm,
phone volume off. Nobody's gonna be mad if I call them back 15 minutes later, right?
yeah. Right. Right.
Turn the lights off, turn my brain off for 15
Mm,
minutes, whether I go to sleep or not. You wake up refreshed, but use
yeah.
that timer. Like, hey, I got an hour. Hey, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Set timer for 55 minutes. Like
Uh-huh.
you have to like this goes back to knowing yourself
Yeah.
and
Right.
being a full person. Like, okay,
Mm,
I know I am going to lose track of time. I need to
mm,
hold myself accountable up front.
yeah. And that's so smart. It's interesting because I do that too, but for naps. So I like that you do that, but you're like, let me power down, clear my brain, get a little meditation on. Because mine is like, I'm driving and I'm swerving. I'm pulling over, putting a timer on, gonna take a nap, or oh, I'm having this conversation, or I'm in a meeting and I'm just like nodding off, like, okay. I associate that with I need sleep, so I try to take power down for a little bit. But that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I might try to do that when
Uh,
I'm feeling overwhelmed.
so again, when we get to certain points, like we don't just have the ability to just like take a nap whenever, right? So
Mm, okay.
we have to be able to control these things. Like one thing I can't control is like how tired I am at most given times, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So in the morning, if I don't sleep well, regardless, every single day,
Mm.
a small dose of caffeine to start the morning. I'll just have a medium
Uh-huh.
coffee,
Mm,
and I fill that regardless of how I slept with
mm,
about 5 milligrams of creatine
mm,
because creatine it fuels your muscles. But
uh-huh.
if you look at studies at what it does to your cognitive ability,
Mm,
specifically if you're
mm,
sleep deprived,
mm.
is it increases them exponentially. Like that's like 35-40% your
Wow.
cognitive ability. And I can tell the difference when I am lacking sleep if I
Mm.
don't take my creatine coffee versus when I do take my creatine coffee, right?
That's pretty cool.
Um,
Huh.
there's always a 5 hour energy in my bag. There's always you just have to have caffeine around you. Like caffeine was tied to the age of enlightenment. We talked about this
Yeah.
before. So
Yeah.
just knowing when when you have to stay awake, and then when you have that 20-30 minutes, like, all right, I need this. Like, okay, I forced myself awake these last whatever. I need this now. I'm gonna take it.
That's interesting because I know you like. I feel like a lot of your expertise are you're much more logical, like um, uh, practical individual than I am. Like even just me knowing that like you understand your physical body, there's a lot of numbers involved. You know what chemicals do what. I feel like I'm such a freaking like caveman. I'm just kind of like I tired, must sleep. Like I haven't like taken any time to like
Yeah.
figure out how things affect me in different ways. In
That
fact,
just goes back to trial and error, though. That goes
yeah,
back to being on so much
right.
caffeine
Mhm.
because the effects are amazing that you lose sleep, and then you wean yourself off of it, and then you have headaches
Mhm.
because you
Yeah.
have a caffeine deficit. And
Mhm.
then you're
Yeah.
like, okay, what's the balance? I mean, it's years. It's literally
Yeah.
years. I mean, of just like, because you gotta remember, like, just let me just give you my mindset. I
Yeah.
went from completely non-professional, just focused on one thing, which was wrestling,
Mhm.
until I
Yeah.
was like 24, 25. And then I
Mhm.
got a job, and then like wrestling was over. It's like, well, I got to do this now. And then
Mhm.
I just, all that focus just zoomed in on one thing. So
Uh,
I went through, I did what I had to do. And you just
yeah.
learn lessons quick.
Yeah.
You learn lessons quick. I mean,
Yeah.
I went through a drinking stage. I went through
Yeah.
a not drinking stage. I went through
You're a quick study
a
too.
partying stage.
Yeah.
But it's just, you gotta be a student of life, right?
Yeah.
You'll learn those lessons. You'll learn if you really have these goals,
Mhm.
you will achieve them. If you
Right.
because you're gonna try, you're gonna make mistakes, you'll learn. And I've just
Yeah.
kind of figured out this is the best way to, at least for
Yeah.
me. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
for someone else, it might be something completely different.
Mhm.
And a lot of times it is something completely different. But this is me.
Mhm. Yeah. Now, I have a I'm curious because I do have a philosophy that I do tell to a lot of just people in general. Like, I feel like a lot of times people get in their own way by kind of being overly critical or over analyzing a thing. You seem like you have a very strong foundation of knowledge and understanding, but does that, my suggestion is always like care less. Like a lot of times when people are like, I'm having trouble with this art piece or this thing, I always tell them care less. It always requires more explanation because that doesn't explain anything. But the idea of like you are trying too hard to force this thing. If it is in you, let it come out of you. Um, but I don't know. Does that have any bearing? Does that make any sense in your world? Or like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can I be real with you? I don't give a shit about most of the stuff that I do. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I do not give a shit. Like, if I lost this job and worked at McDonald's the rest of my life, I could be a happy man. I love my wife. I love my kids. I got good
yeah,
friends. Like, those are the things that I'm really, really focused on. All
hmm
this other shit is just like, I've been blessed with this energy
yeah,
and this
right,
outlook, and I just might as well utilize it to the best of the ability, right? And
yeah,
and it would pain me to do less. So this is
hmm
just my default.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm chasing anything. I feel like
uh-huh,
I'm doing a thing. Like, and why
yeah,
would I not? Why would I half-ass it and then feel bad about it if I have
uh-huh.
the aptitude to not half-ass it, and the
That's
knowledge and the mindset?
that's so great. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Because even though I think it's also you always come from a place of humility. I think that's comes from knowing yourself, doing your best. We just keep repeating the same things we're already talking about.
It's
But
a very simple mindset. It's not
yes,
like a complicated thing.
right, yes. I was I forgot that one song, "Simple Kind of Man." Felt like I heard that song and I was like, all right, that's me. I'm gonna be simple, not gonna overthink this. Uh, because I don't know. I think maybe it's some trauma from my upbringing, but I felt a lot of people in my life really like, and I guess that like overworking thing. I feel like that came from me witnessing my mom kind of going through her employment and then her kind of getting chewed up and spit out there. My wife, same thing with she got into like the industry back in working in big cities. Um,
Yeah,
and I always was like, when you like, it was that feeling of I see you're breaking. Like, stop, you got to get out of there. But they were like, no, this company really needs me, or so they say. Thus, I must plus ultra this every
you know
day
what?
for the next three
And you,
years.
and you
Right.
know I love your mom and Kels, but that goes
Yeah,
back to like knowing yourself and knowing
yeah,
like, oh, I'm not
exactly.
happy here. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's such a shame. Uh, that's a lot of people's experience. But I don't know.
But you and I, you got to understand. I think the way that we grew up was such a blessing. We were fringe, like we
Yeah.
didn't give a shit, and it wasn't like in a cool way.
Right.
it
Yes.
it
Right.
was like, oh, we're just those guys don't give a shit. It's like, oh, those fucking really don't give a shit.
Right.
And it turned out that like the things that we just enjoyed, are just our innate like skills,
Mm.
just we're just good enough. Like we didn't need
Yeah.
to give a shit. Like eventually we like, oh,
Right.
I don't give a shit about what this person thinks, but I do want to be seen as and like respected. So
Yeah.
I learned to be seen and respected and
Mm.
treated with like dignity. You have
Mm.
to dress and talk a certain way, and eventually
Right.
you have to. That's the way you act. And it's like, do I care if you? Because at the end of the day, if I do that, you don't, and you still treat me like shit, I don't care. Because at
Right.
that point, it's a you problem. It's not a me problem anymore. It's like I've done
Right.
you. Like I am a well acclimated like person. Like I bring a lot to the table
Yeah.
for relationships, for a lot of things. Like if you don't want to take part in this or like whatever because of
Mm.
whatever narrow minded reason you have, that's probably something that's a detriment to you more so than it
Mm.
is to me.
Right. I'm glad you said that because that mirrors pretty much my exact feeling. There's been a couple of times I've interacted with people that have been like, "Oh no, Eli, I don't know about hanging out with you or doing anything or like interacting," and I'm always like, "Oh, poor you." I
Yeah,
am awesome. Like I am a joy to be around. So hey, I'll still be here. Offer's still there, but maybe eventually you'll get over whatever you're dealing with and
yeah.
come to terms with it. I don't know. It's a
I
level of
got
confidence territory, I guess. But
I got a coworker, an employee.
mm,
More recently, I mean, I've had a lot of experience like this, but the most recent one. Well, I'm just gonna go back. We'll go back to the first one. He just could not get past the fact that I just like knew things. Like
mm,
just wasn't just like this black just thug just
uh,
didn't know. I'd like try to talk to him about like politics, like ask him his opinion on things. Like we go out and
yeah,
have beer. Like he
yeah.
was going through a
Intellectual
divorce.
conversation.
We would just hang out, right? Like and he just thought I was just like some dumb guy. We would just talk and like
Mm,
he eventually just like stopped like hit me up and I'm just like, well,
mm,
I don't fit his whatever. But it's like
yes.
at the end of the day, you know,
Hmm.
his wife left him, right?
Hmm.
He's going through a lot, and
Hmm.
I think he's just in a world they just couldn't adapt to.
Yeah. Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and he just didn't know how to deal with
And see,
certain
that shows your
people.
humility. Even you having someone against you being like, "No, I don't accept you." You're still like trying to find the angles. Like, hey, I understand. Maybe they're going through some stuff.
But
Like,
you sound like my wife. This kid, there's this kid. This so I was you saw I was Minato today, right?
yeah. Mm,
This kid was Rengoku, and he was just
mhm.
talking shit all night. Just he's blah blah this and that. And I engaged with him once. I'm like, listen, I don't need. He's like, you can hold my sword. He's a kid. I'm like, listen, I could teleport. I don't need your sword. I'm a ninja.
Right.
And he's like, you got turned into a donut. Blah blah blah. I'm like, have a good Halloween, kid. And Katie was like, oh, that's the kid that called Max like a. He like called the
Oh
Asian
no.
kid down the street like a. And I'm
Wow.
like, you know what? I feel bad for that kid. Like, he didn't have
Yeah.
any friends in the summer, and like his dad's
Right.
probably a piece of shit. Like,
Right. Poor,
and
poor
she's like, "What are you
kid.
talking about?" I'm like, "That poor kid. Like his dad.
Right.
It's not his fault. It's his dad's
Right.
fault."
Exactly. He's a product of his environment, and that's a crappy environment.
It's like if this was like 100 years ago, we'd be like, he'd be an adult and we'd be fighting. Like there'd be no
Right.
kids.
Exactly. Right. Right. No, but I think that goes back to like I don't know, knowing yourself also ties into knowing others. I know that at least the people who I have around me in my adult life, I really appreciate and cherish them for their strengths. Everyone has their weaknesses. I know that they, have their shortcomings in whatever that department is, but I feel like both them, everyone who I'm around, I really am invested in their narrative, them trying their best to like
Yes,
overcome these things.
that's
That's
the
we can
most
be
fun
cool.
part. That's the
Yeah.
most fun part of being an adult, like seeing your other like adult friends succeed. Like I don't get how adults are jealous of other adults. I see my
Right.
friends succeed, and I feel like we're My Hero Academia characters. All of us are
Right.
on our own like superhero. Like one of my
Right.
friends is like a law professor. Another
Uh-huh.
one of my friends got his master's. He's a counselor.
Right.
Friends are buying properties and this and that. I'm trying to buy a
Right.
business. You're starting
Having
like
kids,
your
having
own
families,
like shut right.
daddies.
Like
Yeah.
what are you being jealous of?
Right.
What do you hate? Go live your own life. Go have fun.
Right.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I just don't get that.
Right. I'm wondering if it's because we do have that internal motivation and joy. We have some things that
I've
we're bringing. So,
I've
like,
read. Well, that's I won't say I read, but I've done research, and that is genetic, just like innate happiness and joy. It is genetic.
interesting.
Yeah, it
Wow.
is genetic, and some people do not experience it like others, and it
Oh,
sucks because
such a shame.
I,
Right.
yeah, like a lot of the time, even this is just crazy. I had the most. This year was probably the most stressful year I've ever had in my life
Hmm.
with
Yeah.
like work. I mean,
Hmm.
you saw me
Yeah.
twice. You
You've been
saw me in
hustling.
November, and you saw me in June,
Mhm.
and I think I was working most of the time,
Yeah.
both
Yes.
times.
Yes.
You saw me talk to like high like clients,
Mhm.
everybody,
Yeah.
and it didn't break me. It was very
Mhm.
stressful. It never broke. It didn't come close. I don't think it came close.
Yeah.
But now that it's over, it's just like literally, I still have like I'm still like operating at that wave, like I'm coming
Mhm.
down. But
Right.
I just have so much. There's just so much overhead. I'm just so
Yeah.
happy. There's just so much
Right.
joy. I've been going to the
Uh-huh.
gym. I was going to
Right.
tell you. I feel this is the first time like my whole body's felt like so because I did
Mm.
chest and tries. When I work
Mhm.
out, I do body groups. So like after a
Yeah.
week, my entire body's usually
Yeah.
sore, and I'm at that point. Like I haven't been there since I
Mhm.
stopped training at the beginning of the year in the last
Mhm.
year. So it's just a good
Mhm.
feeling.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
and it does suck that people don't feel this motivation and this
Yeah.
joy and this just
Mhm.
overhead of happiness like ever.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was listen, I got this from social media, so hey, grain of salt on this one. But someone had it said that there was a study about people's overall feeling of hopelessness. They said that when they felt that life was kept handing them L's, it was like, all right, got passed over for promotion, got a ticket, these things happen, or they're being forced to do these things they don't really want to do, but they feel like they have to because they don't have a choice. They
Yeah,
said that it's not so much that it is the lack of choice, it is your brain correlates things you've chosen to do and then things that you feel like you must do. And they said,
yeah,
even when you're in those situations where you feel like you have to do a lot, if you take on more things, which is counterintuitive, but if you just choose to, I'm going to do this for myself, it balances that equilibrium out and you feel more fulfilled, even though you're still doing the same stuff that is forced upon you. You're making some choices.
I agree. You have to feed what you want, and that again, this just goes back to kind of knowing yourself,
Right.
and when you are feeling overwhelmed, knowing what is going to level you out.
Mhm.
For me, and this is one of the cool things about the flow state.
Yeah.
It's active when you're in flow state doing something you enjoy. It's
Mhm.
active rehabilitation mentally.
Mm.
So for me, and this is crazy, like some people just don't get this. I love to go and just work an
Mhm.
extremely hard day and just come and kill myself in the gym
Right.
to the
Yes.
point
It
where
is
like
consuming.
I come home and I'm just ready to go to sleep. Like
Uh-huh.
and
Right.
whatever's left in the tank I enjoy spending with the family, and then
Mhm.
I just drag my body down to enjoy whatever hobbies I can until I fall asleep.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that is the life that I want to live. I don't want to just like sit around, and that's the
Mhm.
life that makes me so fulfilled. And I
Yes.
think a lot of it is that active rehabilitation of at the end of the night, like being able to game for 30 minutes, or when I'm
Mhm.
at the gym, being able to force myself into a different mindset where
Uh-huh.
where the only thing I can focus on is my breathing. That's the only thing I literally can
Mhm.
focus on for an hour
Uh-huh.
straight is my
Wow.
breathing and like making sure my muscles don't like snap or like I injure myself.
Yes. That's super cool. No, and yeah, we've been at it for about an hour, so I don't want to take too much longer. But I'm so glad. I was worried. I was like, I'm going to get my athletic friend in here. Let's go talk about see if this can benefit. Because I feel like a lot of times I'm trying to benefit artists and creatives, but I feel like a lot of the stuff is just human existence stuff that is just
Yeah.
like, relevant. So I'm
Well,
glad that we were able to kind of tie it all in.
I want to say one more thing about
Yeah.
athletics and because at the beginning of the conversation, I never got to touch on this. You talked about how you're expressing yourself and it's different. And I just
Mhm.
want to be clear
Mhm.
that my body is the number one way that I express myself
Yes. Right.
is with my body.
Mhm.
And so it is more. I think it's more correlated than you might really understand. Like that is
Yeah.
my art. Like when I
Right.
go and
Yeah.
I compete, like you're saying, like, oh, I did a thing, I beat a guy. Like, no, my body performed
Uh-huh.
like an art
Yeah.
piece. Like when I set somebody up, when I move somebody's body the way I want it to move, and then make them do what I want them to do
Yeah.
by understanding how they're going to react before they know how they're going to react. I mean, that is me expressing myself through art in
I'm so
several
glad
different
you
ways.
said that because in my mind that was happening, but I was like, maybe I'm going too shonen with it. Maybe
Oh,
put my own thing on it.
bro, what do you
It's
think?
the,
Why do
the
you think I
feels
love anime? Let me
right.
just let me. I just got. I got to talk about this for a little bit. But why do you think I love anime? I mean, and the older I get, the more I can integrate that into like my training. I didn't
Mm,
understand it, but like when I was in high school, I used to watch like anime before like big matches. I'd watch like
mm,
certain like things to get hype. But now like
yeah.
that's just part of my training, and that just
Hmm.
like I'll watch anime and I'll just like go. I'll plan like a workout like immediately
Yeah.
after. Like the
Hmm.
way they talk to themselves is the way I talk to myself. In like I can't like I don't know if I can do this. Like I don't know how
Hmm.
much I have left. Am I going to be able to do this? I
Uh-huh.
need to quit being a bitch and like make this happen. Like the other day, I picked up 90s and like a
Mm,
dope song came on, like 90-pound like dumbbells.
yeah.
And I was about to do chest press, and I picked them up, and I'm like, "There's no way I could do this." And then the song hit, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm not. I
Oh,
definitely ain't
oh,
putting them
I'm
down."
in.
Like,
Right. Uh-huh.
I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna
Wow.
get 5," and I knocked 5 out, and it hurts
Wow.
like immediately. But
Right.
you get in the zone. You're like, I'm gonna fucking do it. You talk to yourself,
Mm,
and you just make it happen. And
yeah.
yeah, it is expression. And when you
That's
have
great.
strong emotions,
Mm,
that also influences the flow
yeah.
state
It turns
because
into it. Yeah.
to achieve that, you have to overcome those emotions, which are so strong.
Hmm. Yes.
Like I think when I've had the highest emotions is probably when I've had the most success in like athletics, because when I get to that flow state to a point where I'm not thinking about those other things,
Yeah.
it is such a high level of flow. It has to be such a high level of
Yeah.
focus.
To exceed the emotion. Right.
I'm
Mm,
just going to end with one story, and this
please.
is the best competition that I've ever had in college.
Mm,
uh, I just saw like me and my dad had a big falling out in Christmas. I hadn't seen him for years
mm,
and years and years. Junior year, like it just this was a rough time in my life, right? Like
mm,
um, I
mm.
was injured. No, I wasn't injured this year, but it's a tough time in my life, just hard.
Yeah.
And I get pinned. I never got pinned. I never got
Mm,
pinned in college. I don't
mm,
know if I got pinned. I think I got pinned. I got pinned
mm.
this time, and I just don't get pinned. Like I've
Yeah. Right.
never. I don't. I'm not that person. To get pinned is like to give up.
Uh-huh.
I've never even nobody's ever been able to do that. I was
Uh-huh.
broken, right? I was
Uh-huh.
broken,
Hmm.
and I told the coach I quit. I told him I'm
Mm,
done, and
hmm.
I was like, he's like, I just finished the tournament. Like you're already signed up. Just no, he didn't even say that. He
Mm,
just said whatever. All right, whatever.
mm,
And he just walked away. And he left me alone. And
mm,
John Reeder, who was like close to my age, like we went to the Olympic Training Center together when I first came to Iowa State. Like we were just cool. We were just cool. He knew me. He saw me come to the school. I watched him become an undefeated national champion my first year there. It's my second
mm.
year. I was just broken. He was all I had left to like coach me. And I
Yeah.
told myself, I'm just going to wrestle my best until like I
Mm,
lose. I'm just going to
yeah.
try until I
Yeah.
lose.
And
And I
put out
started
there. Yeah.
off, yeah, and it was the consolation brackets. And another thing, I just told myself I'd never be in the consolation brackets. I don't like eliminating people. I don't. If you
Mm,
lose in the consolations, you're out of the tournament. And in high
mm,
school, I told myself I'd never want to put anybody out of a tournament. I'm never going to be in that
yeah.
position again, right? So
Yeah.
I wasn't there a lot.
Mm,
But incrementally the opponents got harder and harder, and I kept winning and I kept winning, just trying. Right, the matches were
mm,
close, and then
mm,
at some point I was just like, all right, I'm just going to do it. And all of a sudden I was like 8 matches deep. I was going for third. I hadn't
mm,
lost a match, and
mm,
I dominated the guy for. I mean, and this guy,
mm,
the guy who I beat in the third and fourth place match, took
mm,
second in the country that year,
mm.
and
Wow.
I literally made him look like a bitch.
Wow.
And
And
I didn't all American that I didn't all American at all, but he took
right.
second in the country.
Mm. And
Um,
you felt like that was from the emotions, the dad, the getting pinned, the
yeah,
all those
yeah, probably.
elements, and
I
then
mean, you
just
never,
being like, body, do it. Just I'm gonna.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It was just that's it, because I was so at that point I was like, I don't care anymore. I'm
Mm,
detached, right?
yeah.
And then the next thing was just try. So the two
Yeah.
things I needed to enter flow state were there at a
Yeah.
very high level. I was detached from everything else. I was
Hmm.
just broken, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, I'm just going to try at this point. So there was
Wow.
nothing inhibiting me. Literally, it was like 20% effort. I remember the first match, but my
Mhm.
body was just doing what I was trained to do. So someone would
Yeah.
do something, I just react and I just
Mhm.
respond, and it was just like, wow, this is easy. And
Right.
I just, yeah, just it was crazy.
That's so cool. Just this conversation has given me a much stronger understanding of the flow state in these different areas. Because I've only done it to myself in art, and I've tried to teach to other people. But even getting that perspective on it, getting these are the ingredients. If you can, but it's anime though. It is like you still need that training. You need the
Yeah.
montage. You need to be trying this for several decades.
And
To
I just want to clarify this: if anybody's a wrestler and this is online or whatever, it was the Midlands Championships, which, if you know wrestling, it was Midlands back in 2011, 2012. And if you know wrestling, Midlands at that time was the toughest college tournament in the country, like
yeah.
easy. Like
Mhm.
it was very probably 40%, 50% of like the really good teams were there. It was
Mhm.
just tough. It was hard. It was a hard environment. It was
Mhm.
a hard tournament. It was great. It was just a good experience for me, and it gave me a lot of confidence. I think after that, I was probably ranked in the top 10 for the rest of the year. So it was good.
Yeah.
It's a good experience.
That's awesome. Okay, but
Yeah.
I will end it here though. Thank you so much, Matt, for joining. This has been awesome. I always like talking to you, but I was like, how's it gonna work if we're doing it for like a reason? And it's always like still always a pleasure. Oh yeah, I still need to do
Yeah.
a plug.
Me too.
Anything we want to plug? I think I know what we're gonna do, but I feel like I should let you start it.
Yeah. So Eli and I are working on CRC, Contagious Respect Challenge. Essentially, we're just making positive content. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah.
More on the way. Stay tuned. So
Yeah, perfect. Yes, that's way better than what I was going to do. I talk way too much. But yes, thank you for watching. Anyone who's watched the whole thing, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I'm still new to this YouTube thing. I think that's all the stuff you're supposed to do. And I'll see you in the next world. Bye.